For health matters, stay warm as we experience more rains. Now the news in full. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria FAN has announced plans to introduce VPOS, a biometric identity verification system aimed at making domestic air travel faster, safer, and more efficient. FAN's Director of Public Relations and Consumer Protection, Mr. Henry Agbebire, said the authority had partnered a private technology firm to deploy the system, which will enable passengers verify their identities through facial recognition, reducing reliance on physical identity documents at airport. He said the rollout plan was reviewed during a strategic meeting between FAN and the firm, where both parties discussed the deployment of security measures and strategies to enhance passengers' traveling experience. FAN's Director of Commercial and Business Development, Mr. Debola Gumbiade, said the initiative reflects the authority's commitment to deploying technology to improve passengers' facilitation and strengthen aviation security across domestic airports. Under the new arrangement, passengers will receive a security digital identity through a one-time enrollment process. Mr. Gobiade said Nigerian travelers will register using their national identity numbers (NIN) alongside their facial biometric capture, while foreign passengers will enroll with their international passports through optical character recognition and biometric authentication.
The Senate has passed the Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) Act Amendment Bill 2026, significantly increasing penalties for traffic offences, including imposing a 50,000 naira fine on anyone caught hawking, trading or preaching in commercial buses. The amendment, which is awaiting presidential assent, also prescribes a 50,000 naira fine or 6 months imprisonment or both for motorists who fail to cooperate with FRSC officials during roadside breath tests conducted on suspicion. Details of the amended legislation showed that penalties for several traffic offences have been increased by as much as 30% as part of efforts to curb reckless driving, improve compliance with road safety regulations, and reduce road crashes. During deliberations on the bill, lawmakers argued that stronger sanctions had become necessary to addressing persistent traffic violations and unsafe practices on Nigerian roads. The amendment also raises the penalty for driving under the influence of alcohol or intoxicating drugs from 5,000 naira to 100,000 naira, with offenders also facing up to 2 years imprisonment or both.
Vice President Senator Kasim Shettima says food security remains critical to national stability. Senator Shettima stated this in Abuja during the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit, jointly organized by the Office of the Vice President and the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). The Vice President stressed that countries endure not only because of their natural resources, but because they could feed their populations. Senator Shettima also inaugurated a $500 million Niger Delta Agricultural Investment Fund aimed at boosting food production, creating jobs, and attracting private sector investment across the region. He said the fund will operate as a commercial return-driven investment vehicle, conveying key agriculture value chains comprising palm oil, cassava, cocoa, rice, horticulture, livestock, and marine resources. Earlier, the Minister of the Regional Development, Mr. Abubakar Momo, said agriculture remains central to the federal government economic transformation agenda because of its capacity to create jobs and improve livelihoods.
Also, Muslim clerics, traditional rulers, family members, and well-wishers have gathered for a special Islamic prayer session to celebrate the birthday of the wife of Olubadan of Ibadan land, Queen Rashidat Ladoja, offering prayers for her long life, good health, wisdom, and continued service to humanity. The prayer session held at the private residence of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja at Bodija in Ibadan, featured the recitation of verses from the Holy Quran and special supplications seeking Allah's guidance, protection, and abundant blessing upon the celebrant Queen Ladoja and the royal family. Leading the prayers, Islamic cleric Sheikh Murtala Adini urged the celebrant to remain steadfast in faith, humility, and compassion while continuing her support for humanitarian causes, the Olubadan throne, and development of Ibadan land. The cleric also prayed for peace, unity, and sustainable progress in Ibadan land. In a message to the event, Queen Ladoja expressed gratitude to Almighty Allah for the gift of life and appreciated the clerics, traditional leaders, friends, and well-wishers for honoring her with their prayers. The ceremony, which had in attendance the husband of the celebrant Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, Iseyin, Oba Olawale Oyebola, and Iba Oluyode of Ibadan, Chief Nuremi Akombi, ended with special prayers for the celebrant Olubadan, members of the royal household in particular, and Ibadan land in general.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJFRCN Ibadan Chapel, has congratulated the wife of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Queen Rashidat Ladoja, on the occasion of her birthday, describing her as a compassionate woman, a mother to many, and a pillar of support for community development. A congratulatory message signed by the chairman, Comrade Oluwakayode Banjo, and the secretary, Comrade Olawale Ashake. The chapel commended Queen Ladoja for her commitment to humanitarian causes, women empowerment, youth development, and the promotion of peace and cultural values in Ibadan land and beyond. The union noted that her selfless service, humility, and unwavering support for the traditional institution, as well as her husband, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, had earned her admiration across the ancient city of Oyo State, Nigeria, and globally. Comrade Banjo and Ashake in the message prayed God grant Queen Ladoja many more years in good health, wisdom, strength, and fulfillment as she continued to complement the efforts of her husband in promoting unity and development in Ibadan land. The NUJFRCN Ibadan Chapel also wished her a joyous birthday celebration and reaffirmed its appreciation for her goodwill and cordial relationship with journalists, expressing confidence that her legacy of service will continue to inspire generations.
Now, away from the Queen's birthday, the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture of 48 property linked to the immediate past Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, who is facing money laundering charges. The court, in a judgment delivered by Justice Joyce Abdul Malik, held that the property allegedly acquired with proceeds of crime should be permanently seized by the federal government. Mr. Malami, who served as Justice Minister from November 11, 2015 to May 29, 2023 under former President late Muhammadu Buhari's administration, failed to rebut the reasonable suspicion that the property were acquired through unlawful activities. The court dismissed contentions that some of the affected property belonged to the larger Malami family in Kebbi State.
Justice Muhammad Umar of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has threatened to foreclose the defense of Omoyele Sowore if he fails to continue with it. The judge made the order due to the absence of Sowore's lawyer in court to bring more witnesses to testify on his behalf. At the resumed sitting, Sowore was present in court, but none of his counsel was in court. Mr. Sowore said Olumide Fushika, SAN, is in the United Kingdom with the knowledge of the court, and the lawyer standing in for him, Raphael Adakole, is out of jurisdiction. He prayed the court for an adjournment to allow his lawyers to be present in court to handle his defense and an opportunity for him to move an application orally.
15-year-old Hassan Bello, who was among the students abducted from schools in Orire local government area of Oyo State, has recounted his 56 days ordeal in captivity, saying he's not afraid to return to school. Bello told newsmen in Ogbomoso shortly after he and other rescued pupils and teachers were released from the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology Teaching Hospital, where they had received medical treatment and psychological support. He described how he and other victims walked for an entire day to the kidnappers' camp and lived under trees before they were rescued. The student recalled that he was writing a test when armed men stormed his school and forced them and teachers into the forest at gunpoint. The teenager explained that although the kidnappers did not physically assault the students, they regularly flogged the teachers and imposed strict restrictions on the captives.
The Oyo State government says the two intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance ISR aircraft procured to strengthen the state's security architecture will arrive before the end of this month. The State Commissioner for Information, Prince Dr. Onyilade, disclosed this after the State Executive Council meeting, explaining that delivery was delayed because the Chinese manufacturers required additional time to complete the assemblage of the aircraft component. In a statement made available to newsmen, the Commissioner explained that government had confirmed that the aircraft had arrived at the Nigerian Air Force hangar in Ikeja, Lagos for assembly shortly after the Orire kidnapping incident. According to him, Governor Seyi Makinde said the aircraft will have been useful during the rescue operation, but stressed that the state relied on the technical advice of the manufacturers before putting them into service. The two DA-42 MGN ISR aircraft, procured at the cost of 7.76 billion naira, are expected to enhance surveillance along Oyo State borders with Kwara State and the Republic of Benin.
And now to political matters, and All Progressives Congress APC chieftain in Oyo State, Dr. Ayobami Lam Adesina, has urged the federal and state governments to set aside political differences and work together to tackle insecurity following the recent abduction of school children and teachers in Orire local government area. In a statement made available to Radio Nigeria, the son of former Governor in Oyo State, Alhaji Lam Adesina, warned against politicizing the incident, stressing that the safety and security of Nigerians must remain the priority of every government. Dr. Lam Adesina described kidnapping as one of Nigeria's most serious security challenges, noting that it has claimed innocent lives, destroyed businesses and livelihoods, leaving victims and their families with lasting emotional and psychological traumas. He said the Orire incident should serve as a wake-up call for governments at all levels to strengthen collaboration through intelligence sharing, coordinated security operations, and sustained investment in security rather than engaging in blame games. According to him, democracy can only be meaningful when it guarantees the safety and welfare of the people through improved security, good governance, and people-centered policies that restore public confidence in government. This is the world today, the stories that made the headlines. FAN to roll out biometric V-Pass for domestic air travelers. Senate has passed FRSC Bill 2026, and still to come, Uganda discharges last Ebola survivor and 11 feet dead in Algeria. Do stay with us, we'll be back shortly.
You're still with us on the Southwest Network of Radio Nigeria. Now to the foreign scene. Nigeria and the Gambia have agreed to strengthen bilateral relations and revive the Nigeria-Gambia Joint Commission to expand cooperation in key sectors. The agreement was reached during a bilateral meeting between Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikunlaye, and the Gambian Foreign Minister, Swing Nje, on the sidelines of the ECOWAS Media Summit in Freetown, Sierra Leone. A statement issued by the Minister of Foreign Affairs spokesperson, Kiniebi Ebiemfa, lauded the long-standing relations between the two countries and reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to deepening the partnership. In his remark, Gambian Foreign Minister congratulated Enikunlaye on his appointment and welcomed Nigeria's initiative to strengthen cooperation. He also commended Nigeria's support through the deployment of technical aid corps volunteers, its contribution to the ECOWAS mission in the Gambia, and the training of Gambian military personnel in Nigeria military academies. Responding, Ambassador Enikunlaye reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to pan-African solidarity and development.
Still on the foreign scene, a 4-day countdown now begins before Uganda can officially be declared Ebola-free as long as no new infections emerge. The first case in this outbreak of the Bundibugyo species of the virus in Uganda was confirmed in May. The patient was a man who had traveled from neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC), the outbreak's epicenter, for medical treatment. According to reports, Uganda recorded 20 confirmed cases, mostly among visitors from DR Congo, and 2 deaths, with the last patient being treated for Ebola in Uganda, having been discharged from hospital, leaving the country with no active confirmed cases of the deadly disease.
United States U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced that military personnel aged 30 and older will undergo testing for testosterone deficiency as part of annual health screenings. According to the video posted on X handle, Hegseth said he was authorizing the screening program for troops to be aware that they have the right testosterone level to operate at their levels. He added that the troops with low testosterone levels would be offered voluntary hormone replacement therapy. Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell emphasized that protocol will enable the department to establish a comprehensive baseline and offer targeted testosterone therapy, ensuring it sustains a healthy, capable, and decisively dominant fighting force.
11 people have died in a fire at a foster care facility in Algiers, the capital city of Algeria. The country's Civil Protection Department said 19 others were injured in the blaze, while firefighters are still attempting to extinguish the fire over 3 hours when the authorities released an update on the situation. Reports have it that Algeria has been experiencing a heat wave for several days, and almost 1,000 fires have been recorded in just a week.
Now to sports. Soccer experts have expressed confidence in the Super Falcons' chances to successfully defending their Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON title. Let's join Isaac Afolabi for more for these and many more.
A former head coach of our football club, Florencio Steven, has expressed confidence in the Super Falcons' ability to successfully defend their Women's African Cup of Nations title in Morocco. Coach Florencio attributed his optimism to quality and depth of players in the Nigerian squad. However, the former Sunshine Stars goalkeeper trainer cautioned the team against underestimating any opponent, noting that every match in the tournament will be competitive.
It's going to be very difficult, but they can win it. But it's not going to be that very easy like the previous one there.
Also speaking, a sport enthusiast Adedapo Adebari commended the selection of players for the championship. Mr. Adebari, however, called for more competitive domestic women's league to give home-based players greater opportunities to earn invitations to the national team and participate in international competitions.
I believe this current squad of Super Falcons can do it again. They can defend the WAFCON title. So I believe the Super Falcons are going for their 11th WAFCON title.
As part of preparations for the tournament, the Super Falcons will face their Ghanaian counterparts in an international friendly on Sunday before the start of the Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco. Security has been stepped up ahead of tonight's highly anticipated World Cup semi-final clash between England and Argentina, with reports also indicating that match tickets are being sold at significantly higher prices due to overwhelming demand. The blockbuster encounter is expected to be one of the defining moments of the tournament, with a place in the World Cup final at stake for the winner. With both teams aiming to secure a place in the final, fans around the world are eagerly awaiting another memorable chapter in the historic rivalry between the two football giants. Isaac Afolabi, Radio Nigeria.
Many thanks, Isaac. And still in sport, now the World Cup, Argentina remain on course to defend their World Cup trophy after defeating England 2-1 last night to book their place in the final of the FIFA World Cup 2026. The defending champions came from a goal down to score 2 late goals and seal the 3 Lions in their semi-final clash at the Atlanta Stadium in the United States of America. They will play European champion Spain in the final on Sunday, while England face France in the third-place fixture on Saturday.
In today's Heart of the Matter, Fausia Kasim of our Current Affairs Unit writes on sustaining efforts at safeguarding our schools.
After 56 days that armed kidnappers stormed a school in Orire local government area of Oyo State and whisked 44 pupils and teachers into the forest, majority of the abducted have regained freedom. This alone is worth ruminating on, as this is happening in a country where kidnap for ransom has become business and where families of the abducted have learned to expect months or years of silence before any resolution. A clean rescue of this degree is rare enough to count as good news. While there was victory for others, people connected to this same ordeal like Mr. Michael Oyedokun and Mr. John Olaleye were killed in captivity, while one Mr. Joel Adeshinyo and an Okada rider was unknowingly rolled into the scene of the attack was caught up with gunshot in the process. The rescue was not by happenstance. It was a result of a well-planned operation involving the Nigerian Army, the Office of the National Security Advisor, the police, the Department of State Services, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Amotekun Corps, local vigilantes, hunters, and other security agencies. Reports also showed that several kidnappers were killed while 8 suspects were arrested during the operation. What this portends is that anything is possible when security agencies work together with local communities. Federal and state governments deserve commendation for encouraging the security agencies to remain focused until every victim was rescued. The security forces also deserve praises for refusing to give up despite the difficult terrain and the long period of the operation. It is also gratifying that the government resisted the demand to free a jailed kidnap kingpin in exchange for the children, as trading convicted terrorists for hostages does not end kidnapping but emboldens them to do more. Oriire's case is not the country's first mass abduction of pupils, and unless something changes in how schools in exposed rural areas are guarded, it may not be the last. Beyond celebrating this rescue mission, it is pertinent for government to strengthen security around schools, especially those in rural communities. More security personnel should be deployed to vulnerable areas, while communities need to be encouraged to report suspicious movements quickly. The use of modern technology, including drones and surveillance drones and other security equipment, must also become part of efforts to protect schools. While the directive of federal government to Oyo State to ensuring adequate security around its schools should not be taken with a pinch of salt, it must be carried out to the letter. It behoves the government to convert one successful operation into a standing capability to protect schools in Oriire and everywhere like it before the next kidnapping is planned. The rescue of the Oyo pupils and teachers is not only a victory for the nation, it is a reminder that with determination, security efforts can produce results. However, they should also serve as a wake-up call that Nigeria can. It is imperative that the country must build a future where children can attend schools without fear, teachers can do their work in peace, and parents can send their children to classes with confidence instead of anxiety. That is the victory Nigerians truly deserve.
The script on sustaining efforts at safeguarding our schools was written by Fausia Kasim of our Current Affairs Unit and read by Feyishara Owomoela.
And now to end the news on the world today from the stable of Radio Nigeria. Here again are the day's top stories. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has announced plans to introduce VPASS, a biometric identity verification system aimed at making domestic air travel faster, safer and more efficient. The Senate has passed the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSA Act Amendment Bill 2026, significantly increasing penalties for traffic offenses, including imposing a 50,000 naira fine on anyone caught hawking, trading or preaching in commercial buses. And on the foreign scene, we told you that a 42-day countdown now begins before Uganda can officially be declared Ebola-free as long as no new infections emerge. And 11 people have died in a fire at a foster care facility in Algiers, the capital city of Algeria.
Well, that's it on the world today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. Modu Petoba edited. I am Remy Omolola from my colleague
Emilia Ujimudia. Thank you for your time.